have to be sure of in this life is that it wouldn't, to a greater extent, give you what you want. In other words, your expectations might not always be your reality. So sometimes you need words of encouragement, words of motivation to keep you going. And that is what I am here to do this morning, or the early hours of this morning, with the poem If, written by Rudyard Kipling. So as I always do, I'll read through the poem slowly first, then we zoom in to do stanza by stanza analysis. On your screen, I have the poem on a very beautiful background, which you will understand with time. So I read, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. Wow. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one can of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and never and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count on you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. So starting from the last line, you will be a man, my son, actually sets the pace for our discussion today, because it gives us the idea that the poet of this poem is actually talking to a young man that he sees to be his son. Now, if is conditional, starting the poem with or titling the poem if is a conditional, we use if for conditional statement, which means that the poet is just establishing the fact that I am not saying what I'm telling you is possible, you will do it, but I just wish it's something you will consider to do. So now let's start our stanza by stanza analysis. So if it's a motivational poem, which I guess you might have been aware of already, that was written as an advice to a young speaker or a young man by the poet, and is often understood as a father that is speaking to his son, or as an elderly person advising a younger one. The poem presents a series of conditions that defines one, maturity, two, strength, three, discipline, and four, moral courage. Each stanza in the poem, as I just read, begins with if, meaning that the qualities described in the stanzas are tests of character. Now, your ability to withstand this test brings the final reward, which was stated at the end. If the young man, if the young person can live by these values, he will become a complete, responsible, matured human being. Stanza 1. So let's just look at the analysis of stanza 1. It starts with a couplet that talks about self-control, patience, humility, moral discipline. He began the poem, or he begins by describing difficult situations. That is, if everyone around you is angry, confused, panicking, or blaming you unfairly. In such a circumstance or in such a moment, the speaker advised, stay true to your strength, which is your ability to remain calm and clear-minded. If you are able to compose yourself, it does not mean that you are not affected by the pressure. It only means that you have refused to let that pressure control you. Then he continued by saying that you have to believe in yourself, even when others question you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, you should also make allowance. You should also make room for their doubts. Confidence should not become arrogance. That is the meaning of that. Believe in yourself when people doubt you, but make room for their doubts. Don't let your confidence in believing in yourself become a form of arrogance. No, you should trust yourself, but make sure that there's a balance between your confidence, that's your belief in yourself, and making room for their doubt. Don't dismiss their criticism completely. The next line, quite interesting, says, if you can wait and not be tired of waiting. Now, here we are talking about patience as a sign of strength. Most people become frustrated when things start going wrong or when they don't get the result they want quickly. But Kipling is suggesting here that maturity is when you can wait for a delayed result, when you endure, even when things become bitter or reckless. Your ability to endure, to wait, defines your maturity. Then he continues to say that people may lie about you, about your character. Don't respond to them. Don't respond to the lies. They may hate you. Don't become hateful yourself. Don't let the negativities around you. Don't let the negativities around you control you, dictate how you behave, dictate how you act. No, don't do that. Be composed. Yet, it says, and yet, don't look too good, nor talk too wise. Even when you are actually morally upright or when you act morally, you should not become self-righteous. Start judging everyone around you. Start condemning people around you. No, do not do that. Do not behave as if you are better than anyone else. Do not speak as if you alone are wise or you are the only wise person. Pride goes before a fall, and he did warn against that. So basically, stanza one is giving you strength, advising you on what not to do. Don't let pressure, criticisms, hatred, lies, or delay in achieving your success or progress destroy your character. You should always stay calm, stay focused, trust yourself, be patient, act morally, and remain humble. Basically, this is what stanza one is all about. The second stanza focuses on balance, resilience, the ability to rebuild after failure, which I believe is one of the most difficult life traits. One's ability to rebuild after a failure or ability to stand up when you fall. He begins by discussing dreams and thoughts. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim. Dreaming is very important because our ambitions gives our lives direction. So your ability to dream gives you direction. However, according to Kipling's poem Eve, he warns that dreams should not become your master. This basically means that don't live only in fantasy. Don't live only in your dream. A person might dream big, but dreams alone are not enough. They should be accompanied by discipline, action, and realism. So living in your dream is living in fantasy, but you must accompany those dreams with actions. So thinking is valuable. Thank you at Jomandi Rainbow. So dreaming is valuable, but living in your dreams alone isn't enough. You should be able to accompany those dreams with some practicalities. Then this is followed by if you can meet with triumph and disaster. Triumph, good news, success, victory. Disaster, bad news, disappointment. And treat those two imposters just the same. Your reaction to the two are the same. So triumph means success, like I said earlier. Disaster means failure. Now he personified them as imposters. Someone who pretends to be something they are not. That is the meaning of an imposter. So by calling success and failure imposters, he suggests or Kipling suggests that neither should be trusted completely. Do not trust success completely because it can leave you at any time. Do not trust failure completely because it can leave you at any time. You should always be calm. So success can deceive you to become proud. Failure can lead you into despair. Both can be temporary. Both can distort your understanding of yourself. But I like this, but a matured person does not become arrogant after success. Neither does he or she become hopeless after failure. That is what these lines are teaching you. If you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. This basically means that people may take your honest words and twist them for dishonest purposes. And we live in a world full of such people twisting your words. What you say, the good you said, they will twist it and make you look evil. People are good at that. There are a lot of people that do that to their people. They twist your honest statement, make it dishonest for their selfish interest. A knave or knaves are dishonest people. It depends on how this word is used. Sometimes it could mean slavery, but here they are dishonest people. Now, Kipling is describing frustrations of seeing your truth manipulated. But he said something that I love. He said, maturity means being able to endure this without giving up. That's maturity. The final part of this stanza, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. Your ability, this is a powerful image, your ability to watch your years of efforts collapse. Give your life to suggest that your sacrifices and your commitment, watching them go waste, watching them go bad, yet the matured person does not only mourn the loss, he bends down, stoop, and begins again with the worn out tools that he has or she has in hand. I loved it. The worn out tools symbolize limit, limitations or limited strength, limited resources, exhaustion, or discouragement. Your resilience is not rebuilding when conditions are perfect, but rather it is rebuilding when you are tired, wounded, and poorly equipped. I love this line because I think I can relate perfectly with this. Once resilience comes, I think I personally believe that you are not strong because you live in rosy times, but your strength is tested by temptation. Your strength is tested by difficulty. Your strength is tested by times of challenges. That is when I believe that you are a strong person. And that is well said in this stanza. So basically, stanza 2 of this poem is advising readers, which happens to be you on one side and me or I on the other side, that we should have dreams, but we should not be controlled by our dreams. We should think, but we should not stop at thinking. We should add practice, actions. We should treat success and failure with equal calmness. We should not become arrogant when we are successful. We should not lose hope when we fail. When our hard work is destroyed, we should rebuild it, even when we feel exhausted. What good message can you get this morning than this? Never give up, never surrender, keep working hard. At Hack Hackibly. I guess I got that right. Thank you for watching and following. That's great. I'm glad. So we should always persevere. We should always keep working hard and hard and hard. And we'll survive. Now let's zoom into the third stanza. Today we're going to spend quite a longer time because we still have two stanzas to do, but I think it's worth it. So the third stanza begins with, if you can make one leap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss. This is an enjambment that says a lot, and I love that. So I'll explain that into details for you. The third stanza focuses on risk, losses, endurance, your will power, your inner strength, and your courage. The speaker or the persona imagines a person that is gathering everything he has won and risking it all in one moment. Pitch and toss was or is a simple game of chance. So you just play it, you may win, you may lose. That's what we call a game of chance. This image does not necessarily mean that the poet is encouraging reckless gambling. No, he's not doing that. But symbolically, what he said represents the risk that life sometimes demands. You know, most successful people in this life, when you talk to them, they will tell you that life is full of risk. So I think what Kipling's is, or the persona poet, or the persona in this poem, is trying to tell the young man he's addressing, or the young woman he's addressing, or we readers, is that sometimes in life you have to take risks. Because in life, people may invest everything, money, effort, reputations, time, hope, into one major decision or opportunity. The test is not only whether they win, but how they respond if they lose. So when you put all your eggs in one basket, isn't the test when the basket survives it? No. The test is when all the eggs get broken. What do you do? He continued by saying that, and I quote, and lose and start again at your beginning and never break a word about your loss. So you do all these things and you lose. So this statement is about resilience. The matured person can lose everything and wouldn't be scared to begin again from the start, from the scratch, from the beginning. That is a matured person. He does not complain endlessly about his loss. A matured person. Pardon me for my consistent use of the male gender pronoun he. It's just something I'm doing because of the background of the poem that says that the poet or the persona in the poem is advising a son. That's why I seem to use that. Never breathe a word does not mean suppressing your pain or your negative emotions in an unhealthy way. In the context of this poem, it actually means not becoming defined by self-pity, by bitterness, or public complaint. Do not complain too much when you encounter this kind of losses. That is all the poet is trying to say in this context. He values quiet endurance. That's the poet in this lines. And he also admires the person who suffers loss but continues working. If you can force your heart and nerves and sinew, I'll explain that, to serve your turn after that, long after they are gone. Heart, nerves, these are symbols. And what I will do is that when I'm discussing devices as used in this poem, I will look at the symbolism. So the sinew, sinew or sinew, depends on how you want to pronounce it. So they refer to emotional strength, courage, and physical energy. The poet imagines a moment when all this seems exhausted. The body is tired, your emotions are drained, your courage feels almost gone, yet you still continue as a person, yet you still persevere as a person. And the final lines of stanza 3, as you can see on the screen, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. How I love that. You still hold on. I'm actually paraphrasing it now. You still hold on to nothing, or you still hold on when there is nothing left in you except your willpower that tells you to hold on. You do not have anything concrete to do again to see because everything is gone. Will is personified to have the power to tell you what to do. It becomes like your inner voice commanding your body and your spirit to continue, to continue running, to continue pursuing, to continue enduring. The person has no energy left. He's drained or she's drained, except one thing, self-determination. The willpower as the last reserve for human strength is presented here. Sometimes, when I say we, I mean those of you can relate with Kipling's poem. We have encountered a lot in life, a lot of challenges, a lot of downward spiral in our pursuit of greatness or success or fulfillment of our ambition. We have been broken before. We get exhausted, but something still keeps us in. There's that willpower that keeps us going, that keeps pushing us, keeps assuring us, reassuring us, go, you can do it. So that willpower is the last one. Never lose it. So this stanza is very motivational, just like others, but very motivational because it recognizes that people sometimes reach a point where talent, confidence, comfort, and visible progress disappears. I've actually found myself countless number of times. I don't want to sound pessimistic now to tell you that I'm still finding myself sometimes there, but now I'm very optimistic that it's gone. But I have found myself countless times where a lot of things are gone. Things like talent, it doesn't bring anything, confidence, close to zero, comfort, non-existence, visible progress disappears. And what is Kipling advising the listeners or readers at this moment or when you find yourself in these times? What remains is the decision not to quit, is the decision not to give up. You should always persevere. Continue pushing. Finally, we are going to discuss the final stanza. It's quite a long video today. I don't usually want my classes to be long because it gets boring, but trust me, this is worth it. It's a very lovely poem and take your time to listen. Read whilst you listen. That's why I have it on the screen for you and you will enjoy it. The last stanza begins, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue or walk with kings, nor lose your common type. This basically means if you are among ordinary people or popular opinion or public pressure, you should not lose your moral values. You should not lose yourself to the crowd or in the crowd. Crowds, lot of people can influence people. They can influence you. They can push you to compromise on your principles. But Kipling is advising that maturity means being able to interact with people without losing your integrity, being among the highest, the ranks and files in society, and still maintain your values. You can talk with the wealthy people, the most powerful people, the greatest people, but still keep your personal principles, values. Then you are a matured person. If neither fools nor loving friends can hurt you, if this also means that you become something like emotionless. It's difficult, but that is the right word I can use to explain this. Emotionless. It means that you are not easily destroyed by either enemies or friends. Enemies can hurt you though. They can hurt you through hatred. Friends can hurt you through betrayal, disappointment, excessive influence. But a matured person or matured people care about others and they do not allow the people they care about to completely control their inner life or inner lives. If all men count with you, but none too much, you should value people, but don't become enslaved by anyone's opinion. Everyone should matter to you, but no single person should have absolute power over your judgment, over your dignity, or over your moral direction. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, the unforgiving minute represents time. Time is unforgiving because it does not stop, it does not return, it does not excuse wasted opportunity. Everyone receives 60 or the same 60 seconds in a minute. No one's phone is more than the other, but not everyone uses them equally or well. Distance run suggests effort, movement, or achievement. Every moment should be used fully, usefully. A matured person does not waste time on laziness, on fear, or on hesitation. He tries to fill every moment, or he tries to fill each moment with meaningful action. Finally, yours is the earth and everything that in it, and which is more, you will be a man, my son. This is why I said or this is why I use the masculine pronoun predominantly in my discussion or analysis. I'm not being biased, but it's addressed to a son. But it doesn't mean that it's only a son that can benefit from this. No, anyone could benefit from this. The reward is not only material success. Yours is the earth. Suggests that mastering opportunities and fulfillment, that is what yours is the earth is suggesting. Something even more important follows after you own the earth. You will be a man. In the context of this poem, being a man means becoming matured, responsible, courageous, disciplined, and morally complete. Finally, to bring our discussion today to a close on the analysis of If by Rudyard Kipling, he addressed direct address to the son. He says, and I quote, "My son," reveals the personal nature of the poem. It's so personal to him. The advice is intimate and fatherly or elderly. The poem is not just a public speech, it is guidance passed from one generation to another. So on this note, note this. The poem represents an idea, an ideal model of character. The poet argues that a truly mature person must be emotionally balanced. He or she must be morally disciplined. He or she must be patient, resilient, humble, courageous, and hardworking. A strong person is not someone who never suffers. A strong person is someone who remains steady during suffering. A successful person is not someone who never fails. A successful person is someone who can fail, rebuild, and continue. Finally, again, another finally, sorry for that. A matured person is not someone who dominates others, but rather a matured person is someone who controls himself. Thank you for being part of this lengthy lesson today. Have a nice day. See you the next time for analysis of some devices in it. Bye bye.